Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this evening, so let's begin. First up, AG's office investigating suspicious death in Sandown. Officials release few details of investigation. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
This meter shows how much stuff or dissolved solids gets left behind. Our tap water is 220.
Ooh. Sean, there's been nothing official from the Attorney General's office, which is leading this investigation. But according to neighbors, an elderly woman and her grandson lived here. Now, the home at 48 Phillipswood Road in Sandown remains cordoned off. Crime scene tapes surrounding it as state and local police continue to gather information. A close friend of the elderly woman says that she's a very active 88-year-old who always has something going on. Now, the friend says she spoke to the woman about 5:45 last night and everything seemed normal. In fact, the woman said she was looking forward to a senior luncheon tomorrow and planned to dress for the occasion. Now, neighbors also say that a few months ago, the woman's grandson moved into the home. The grandson, said to be in his 40s, a neighbor describing the relationship between the two as very loving. Now, neighbors say they didn't see or notice anything amiss until very early this morning.
3 a.m., I noticed from my window that there were all kinds of lights, and I didn't know it at the time, but they were searching for someone.
Now, there's no word from the Attorney General's office as to whether or not they did conduct a search, but other neighbors report seeing officers in the woods around the home. Now, the Attorney General's office says they hope to be able to release some more information late this afternoon. However, they do add there is no danger to the general public and that the scene is secure. Reporting live in Sandown, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Bethlehem Hotel Restaurant to pay back nearly $88,000 after investigation. Settlement to go to 78 employees to resolve minimum wage overtime violations. A U.S. Labor Department investigation has resulted in a hotel and restaurant in New Hampshire paying nearly $88,000 in back wages to 78 employees to resolve minimum wage and overtime violations, the department said on Tuesday. Investigators say they found the Arlington Hotel and Birch Bear and Bistro in Bethlehem misclassified out-of-state temporary employees as independent contractors and paid them flat salaries without regard to the number of hours they worked. The department said the hotel also violated child labor hours provisions when one 14-year-old employee and one 15-year-old employee worked beyond the times of day and number of hours per week allowed by law. The hotel also paid $1,200 civil penalty for child labor violations. New Hampshire officials released hate crime reporting guidelines. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The New Hampshire Department of Corrections has immediate openings for corrections officers. Apply today.
Well, tonight, a new set of guidelines by New Hampshire's Attorney General aims at helping law enforcement with handling hate crimes. Each police department has requested to pick one staff member to serve as a civil rights designee. That person is required to coordinate the department's response in case of a hate crime, as well as collaborate with the AG's Civil Rights Unit.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. In lawsuit, ACLU says Nashua Hotel was wrong to deny 20-year-old a room. ACLU says decision to decline room was discriminatory. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
When reality stars get together.
I see you brought your own butler.
I am not a freaking butler.
Well, new this morning, the ACLU of New Hampshire has filed a lawsuit on behalf of a college student who claims he was denied a hotel room because he was under 21. The lawsuit claims that under current anti-discrimination statutes, it's unlawful to withhold from or deny accommodations because of a person's age. A spokeswoman for Homewood Suites by Hilton said the Nashua property is independently owned, and they're now looking into what happened.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Squad members, U.S. Rep. Ayanna Presley to speak on Warren's behalf at NHYD event. U.S. Rep. Ayanna Presley of Massachusetts will visit the first primary state Friday to speak on behalf of Senator Elizabeth Warren at the New Hampshire Young Democrats Granite Slate Awards event in Manchester. Custer saying Trump's abused power of presidency supports impeachment. Pappas to review articles. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
No crimes. They're impeaching me, and there are no crimes. This has to be a first in history. They're impeaching me. You know why? Because they want to win an election, and that's the only way they can do it.
President Trump told his supporters the impeachment is a sham. Hours earlier,
the House Committee on the Judiciary is introducing 2 articles of impeachment charging the President of the United States.
Democrats alleging the president pressured Ukraine to investigate the Bidens for political gain, then obstructed the investigation. Republicans firing back.
They're not impeaching the president because they can list an impeachable offense. They're impeaching him because they're afraid he will get reelected.
New Hampshire Representatives Chris Pappas and Annie Custer will vote on impeachment in the House. While Pappas says, I remain committed to considering the unbiased facts of this case, Custer says Congress has no choice.
President Trump has abused the power of the presidency for his own personal gain.
If the House votes to impeach, then the Senate decides whether to convict and remove the president. Senator Maggie Hassan says, I hope all Americans will take the time to familiarize themselves with these materials and the facts they lay out. And Senator Jeanne Shaheen says, as a juror in any upcoming Senate trial, I have a duty to withhold judgment, encourage a fair process, and make a determination impartially. The next steps, the House Judiciary Committee is expected to debate and approve the articles of impeachment Thursday. If they pass the full House, Speaker Nancy Pelosi sends them to the Senate for a possible trial in January. Monica?
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at that U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Wednesday evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green and went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the green and went up. S&P 500 closed in the green and went up. Gold closed in the green and went up. Oil closed in the red and went down. U.S. 10-year closed in the red and went down. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VAX closed in the red and went down. Stocks rise after Fed signals no rate hikes in 2020. Stocks closed sharply on Wednesday after the Federal Reserve indicated it will likely not raise rates in 2020, removing the fear among investors that it would repeat a mistake it made last year by tightening monetary policy and knocking the stock market. Times Person of the Year. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
We're going to go to some good news now, and this was just announced moments ago. The Time Person of the Year is 16-year-old climate change activist Greta Thunberg. Now, you remember when the Swedish team took on UN world leaders at the Climate Change Summit. I mean, 16 years old. Congratulations to her. She had a passionate plea garnering a lot of attention. She definitely deserves it
as well. No question about that.
And, you know, Times Business Person of the Year, somebody we all know.
Who?
CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, who, he's holding. Yeah, he's holding illustration of him and Baby Yoda. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations to Mr. Iger as well. And
he is our top boss, but he truly is a great guy.
He is a great guy.
Great, and he's a great leader of Disney.
He really is.
Very deserving. Congratulations.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos.
Okay, and there you go on that video. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. Good night and bye, everyone.